Welcome to Chatter Machine. I'm Kat,
And I'm Adam.
and we just discovered pro wrestling and don't want to talk about anything else.
Yeah, we've spent the last 6 months getting really deep into professional wrestling and spending so much time talking about it. We've been watching All Elite Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Lucha Libre, indie promotions, old wrestling from the wrestlers we like. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and it feels like every time we take another step down the rabbit hole, it expands to unknown proportions. I think we've had a lot of really fun conversations over the past 6 months, privately in the car, over breakfast, on a hike in the woods. Some of them are pretty fun. So we thought, why not start a podcast and see if any of this is worth sharing with the world?
Yeah, sounds like a fun project. How did we get here, though?
Great question. Adam, did you have any awareness of wrestling growing up?
Not really, honestly. I was aware of pro wrestling. It was some kind of sport. Other people were into sports, not me.
Yeah.
I did, do stuff, swimming and whatever, but I didn't watch sports. I learned especially about pro wrestling. I think I learned the whole, it's fake thing and absorbed a sort of judgmental dismissal of it. So I just never really paid attention to it. But, I saw it here and there. I certainly knew some of the names that came out of it.
Were you still in Minnesota when Jesse Ventura ran for office?
Yeah, I was at college, but I would have been voting in Minnesota, and I'm pretty sure I voted for him, independent candidate in Minnesota in the late 90s, independent candidates.
Riding a wave of contrarianism?
Yeah, but, he's a pretty good guy and turned out to be pretty good, so...
All right, we've got our first political opinion.
It's true. What about you?
I also did not grow up in a wrestling household. We did enjoy some sports, but a lot of my friends and my cousins were wrestling families. I think growing up in the 80s and 90s, wrestling legends were everywhere all the time, whether you were a fan or not. And I have to find out what my cousin Tommy is going to think about me starting a wrestling podcast while he lives a normal, upstanding human adult life with children. But yeah, I was, during the Attitude Era, I was a teenage girl, which was a super shitty time to be a teenage girl. How can you not be aware of wrestling when half the dudes in your class are chopping their crotches and yelling, "Suck it"?
Yikes.
Yeah. Yikes. But then in college, I kind of got into it. It felt like it was ironic viewing. I think that was my excuse. But I would have college study breaks watching Raw and SmackDown. And even if I wasn't going to admit it, I think there was a genuine part of me that really wanted to see what Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Chyna and everyone were going to get up to this week. So yeah, but why now?
Well, I think it's worth saying that as a teenager, I was around a lot of theater kids.
Oh, me too.
And so we have that in our background.
Yes.
And a few years back, of course, we got into Dropout TV.
Mm-hmm.
And
like good little former theater
little
kids.
Nerds. And I was never a big improv fan. I wouldn't have been the person to be like, I like improv. But Dropout TV took over, and we watched a lot about it. And we watched a lot of Dimension 20 and got into Not Another D&D podcast.
We got heavy into actual play D&D shows.
Yeah, and some of those people like wrestling.
A lot of them really like wrestling.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
And Brian Murphy of NADPOD, also in Dimension 20, took a Stone Cold Stunner at Madison Square Garden, which we were there for.
Yep.
And him talking about wrestling and sort of the ways that it has things in common with storytelling in Dungeons and Dragons and thinking about bad guys and good guys and storytelling just kind of primed my interest and my readiness to be interested in wrestling.
Yeah.
And on Dropout, Jess Ross did a presentation about wrestling being drag, which was very fun and compelling.
So fun. And true, as it turns out.
Yeah. And so they had a couple of short seasons of Dimension 20 that had drag queens on. And then this year they had one with some pro wrestlers from WWE. They had Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, Chelsea Green, and Bayley.
Right. Titan Takedown.
And
we didn't know who any of these people were.
Nope, not a clue.
But they were all really fun.
They were fun.
playing D&D and like learning how to play D&D.
Yeah, watching them learn, watching them be who they are.
Yeah, and I kept saying, we're watching it, I kept saying, like, I want to see what these people look like in the ring.
Yeah.
What is that all about? And then over Easter weekend, we're de-stressing from family holiday stuff, and we're in a hotel room, and we're like, what if we put on WrestleMania?
What if?
And it wasn't really good, you know? Like, anyone who watched Mania this year knows it was not good, but it was different.
Yeah, it was certainly new for me, and like sort of it was a reasonable intro to like, well, this is kind of how pro wrestling works. This is what they do. And then I was like, but I wanted to see the people we wanted to see.
Right, we didn't really see any of those people that we had become not so intimately familiar with. And I remember thinking, well, this kind of event probably isn't for me, but I also took some joy in the pageantry and just doing something completely different.
Yeah, and I got to looking up that talent because I still wanted to see it. So, you know, I'm looking on TikTok.
We
I'm
find
looking
some
on
like fun
YouTube.
New Day videos and stuff
we got
like
some
that.
New Day, some Bailey, and that was fun. And then the algorithm looked back into me and
Into
said,
your soul.
you want to see Toni Storm. And I looked at some clips I was given of Toni Storm and said, my wife needs to see Toni Storm.
I did need to see Toni Storm, as it turned out. And then the next thing you know, we're watching a 4-hour video about the Hollywood ending.
And around that time, got some clips of who we didn't yet know was Ricochet, stealing someone's prosthetic leg and standing around beating him with it.
That got me.
Yeah, it's just this realizing that it could be so silly and fun and theater kids causing mess.
Absolute havoc.
Aha!
At this point we still think the blood is fake.
Yes, at this point in our journey, we're seeing...
How did they get that fake blood so realistic?
Yeah, we're seeing Toni Storm's head getting all bloody from a shoe and sitting there thinking, where's the tube hidden?
Yeah. Anyway, so at this point we start kind of just watching some AEW here and there, and now we have a 4-hour video about Swerve and Hangman.
And we start having opinions about Double or Nothing and All In.
And I'm watching Chikara matches from 2006.
And we're subscribing to a bunch of different streaming services because there's too much wrestling.
Too much wrestling. And the next thing you know, we're hopping the train to Philly to see our first ever live wrestling events at the 2300 Arena.
And listening to a bunch of wrestling podcasts.
Right, and most of them, unfortunately, have that typical, like, dude on a podcast, dudes talking like they're really serious, talking like they're very serious and maybe not really saying things that are insightful or entertaining to me, personally. And then we found Waffly Bollocks and Tunnel Talk, and we love them.
We love them.
And we're really grateful that they have been out here combating the podcast stereotypes.
Yeah, they just feel like a safe haven. I love listening to them. They make me feel like I belong. And I enjoy our wide-ranging conversations a lot while we're both learning about this. It's a lot of fun talking about pro wrestling.
Why not try a thing?
Why not?
So please bear with us while we figure out how to make a podcast and continue to dig into the history, lore, and spectacle of pro wrestling on Chatter Machine. And if you've come across us on a trail while we're yakking about wrestling, I'm very sorry for spoiling your day in the woods.